and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are introducing our new set, Happy Village, and its coordinating dies. So let's go ahead and check it out. First up, we have this cute little trio of houses. I think it's my favorite stamp from the set. Then we have this building that could be a church or a schoolhouse. We have a cute little house with a heart on its door, and then a plain house. We have a little car and some moving boxes to put on top of that car. We have a large tree and a small tree. We have a little sun behind the clouds, which is so cute, and then a little cloud on its own. We also have some little seagulls that you can stamp in the background. We have a little picket fence and some smoke to come out of the chimney. We have this great word bubble and then these phrases that fit inside of the word bubble. So you can stamp "We've moved," "You're invited," "Home sweet home," and "Thank you." We also have some great sentiments. So we have welcome, happy housewarming, congrats on your new home, and home is where the heart is. Next, I'm using my Copic markers to add some color to these fun images. And one of the things I love about these houses is that you could color them whatever is in your imagination. So I like coloring them in bright rainbow happy colors, but you could do browns or grays depending on what card you're doing. And I love that you could match them to your pattern paper. These houses could be really fun to paper piece too, meaning you could stamp them on some pattern paper and let the pattern paper color the houses, which would be really awesome. Happy Village is the second in our village series. We started off with Winter Village back in August, which was so cute for holiday cards, and it's so fun to have a rainbow and happy village now for spring and kind of all year round. I'm keeping my coloring really simple on these houses, just using two colors, putting down my light color first to kind of wet the paper, layering my dark color over it, and then from there blending out with my light color. And it's really easy, really quick to do, but it still looks really, really great. I really like this color combination for the roofs and doors. It kind of just is bright and happy and it goes with the bright colors, and I just think it looks really, really nice. For the steps of the houses, I'm going to use some warm grays so that it kind of looks like cement or stone going up towards the house. And then I'll use these light turquoise colors to kind of show the glow coming from the windows. Next up, I'm going to be coloring the little schoolhouse or church the way that Shari did in one of her cards, and I thought it was so cool what she did. So you'll see here that I started with some lighter grays, and I'm layering in some little dashes to be almost like bricks on the building. Right here is when I decided, I don't know that I like it this light, so I decided to make it a little bit darker, and then I'll go back in with a darker marker and redo those little brick lines. And so you can see how cool those look, and it really gives the building a little extra something and different just by adding those tiny little dashed lines. To make this building really pop, I'm going to add some bright red doors, and I think that looks really, really nice with the warm gray building with kind of the brick all around it. Next up, I'll be coloring the car, and I'm going to color it in red as well. I don't know why, but I love coloring in kind of, it almost looks like a little beetle or something, and I like the little red beetles, so I think it looks really, really cute like that. After I finish up my little car, I'll start working on all of those kind of scene creators like the sun and the trees. And for the trees, I'm going to be coloring these in kind of like a foresty green. But what can be something to do really fun with the trees is to color them in fun colors as if they were covered in pink flowers, for example. And I'll show you a little bit of that later on. There we'll color in that little sun image. I love that image so much. I think that would be just by itself with a little inspirational message would be a cute little tiny mini card or tag. I'm going to use some warm grays there just to make the white pop on that fence and also on my speech bubble. Once again, just to give it a little definition and make it look nice and special. Here are the coordinating dies which you can bend apart at the tabs, or you can use your wire snips to separate them. I'm going to take those dies and line them up with my stamped images. I'm going to hold them in place with some low tack tape and then run them through my die cut machine and get some cute die cut images. And look how fun that little rainbow village is. It's just adorable, and I love mixing and matching these so much. For my first card, I'm going to be using some really rainbow paper. So I'm kind of looking through the pack to see which one I want to use, and I'm going to use that nice bold stripe. I'm also going to create a card base that's going to be 5.5 by 4.25 inches, and I'm going to layer that really awesome striped paper right on top. I'm going to take the largest of the outside-in stitched rectangles, and I'm going to die cut some white cardstock, and that's going to be a panel that's going to go on top of that pretty striped paper. I'm going to create my own custom pattern paper on this white piece of cardstock. So I've got my manatee ink, which is a nice light gray, and I've got my stamp set out, and I've got my stamp chamois ready so I can kind of mix and match all of these different images to create my own pattern paper. And this is a card by Yanea that I am recreating for this video, so thank you so much for letting me recreate this gorgeous card, Yanea. So here you can see I'm just kind of stamping the houses kind of randomly around. I always like starting kind of around the edges and then filling in towards the center. You'll see I'm going to kind of leave a big blank space there because that's where my little images are going to go. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of that row of houses and then layer some green trees behind them. So I think it looks kind of cute having the trees kind of pop out from the side of the houses. I'm also going to use my glue tube on the bottom of those little moving boxes and layer them on top of the car because I think that's just such a cute look. Next up, I want to heat emboss my sentiment on some black cardstock. So I'm going to take my little powder tool here and I'm going to run it across that black cardstock, and that's going to keep that white heat embossing powder from sticking to anything else but my Versamark ink. So here I'm stamping "Home is where the heart is" in some Versamark ink, and then I can add my white heat embossing powder, and you'll see that it's only going to stick to the image and kind of fall away from the rest of the cardstock. I'm going to take my heat tool and heat up my sentiment, and then I'm just going to trim that right down to be a nice little thin strip so that that sentiment's really going to pop really nice and bold from that rainbow cardstock and that kind of custom pattern paper that we created. I want to create a little grass for my colored row of houses there to stand on because I don't want them to look like they're just floating on the card. So I'm just kind of doing some little flicks with my pen, and then I'm layering my stamped image over it and then realizing I kind of need to add more and more green grass. So I'm kind of layering it over. Okay, I need a little bit more, and I'm just going to keep adding just like that until it looks perfect. I'm going to add some foam tape on the back of my sentiment and all of my other images as well, and I'm going to layer those all on there too. So this is already looking so cute, but I thought it would be fun to give it kind of an easy but cute interactive element on the inside. So we're going to do a pivot pop-up. I've die cut the pivot pop-up mechanism from some white cardstock. I'm going to fold all the way along that horizontal line that the die created for me away from myself, and then I'm going to fold along the diagonal lines towards myself, just like that. I'm going to take my index fingers and push in from the outsides and create this cool little arrow shape. Then I'm going to take my nice strong score tape and put tape all over the top triangle part of the pivot, both on one side and on the other side too. Once I'm done adding my adhesive, it's time to cut my panel. So I'm going to be using that same rainbow paper, but I'm going to be using the 12 by 12 version this time since this panel is so nice and long. So I'm going to die cut one piece and then take that die and flip it over and die cut the rest of the continuation of that cool rainbow. The die also created some embossed lines here, some fold lines for me, so I'm going to fold towards myself and then away from myself with a little tab, away from myself with a little tab, and then towards myself. I'm then going to add some nice strong tape to each of those little tabs. I can remove that liner tape and fit those two pieces in together to create one long piece that has this really cool rainbow detail. Now it's time to add the mechanism to the inside of our card. So we're going to open that card up and then take out our mechanism, and I'm going to remove the liner tape on one side of the triangle. Once I've removed that liner tape, I'm going to open up my mechanism, and I'm going to use that little hole there to help me find my center score line of my card. Once I've found that center, I'm going to push down on that triangle, attaching it to the card. I'm going to push in from the insides, forming that arrow once again. I'm going to remove all that liner tape there to expose the adhesive, and then I'm going to close my card shut and attach that mechanism to the other side of the card. And you'll see that once we open it up, you're going to see how it kind of pivots. I'm going to add some adhesive to those two little winged, like kind of little rectangles on the end of this mechanism. And I'm going to peel up that liner tape. And then I'm going to take that rainbow panel we made earlier and line that up right in the center, pushing down to pick up that adhesive. The first time I close this, I'm going to kind of help it guide and kind of teach the paper what to do. I'm going to play with the mechanism over and over again like this, and you'll see the more I play with it, all of a sudden it's working really, really well. I am using Finley's ABCs to cut the word congrats from some black cardstock. And I'm going to layer these on top. So it's going to match the outside because we got the rainbow and then that black piece that we kind of white heat embossed. I thought it would kind of coordinate and be a really fun surprise for someone that just moved into a new home. So I'm going to layer all of my letters on, kind of seeing how they look. And once I have them in the right placement, I'm going to use my glue tube to add a little glue to the ends of each letters and layer those right on top. And so this was really quick and easy to do, but it's really, really cool and it's really going to surprise someone with that nice big congrats message on the inside. So here you'll see, woo, we got the big pop-up. There's so much fun. It's just adorable and such a happy rainbowy card for such a happy and fun occasion. Next, I'm going to be recreating a gorgeous Four Seasons card by Shari. And so the first thing I'm going to do is use my peekaboo backdrop die, and I'm going to die cut some white cardstock with that die. The four panels in this die are going to become my four seasons. I'm also creating a standard size card base at 4¼ by 5½. And then I'm going to use my glue tube to add a little glue to the back of my frame and layer that right on top of my card base. Next, we're going to take out the perfectly plaid spring paper and choose some fun colors and kind of four-season colors. So we've got the pink, we've got the green, we've got the blue, and then we also have the yellow. I'm going to use all of these different pattern papers and I'm going to die cut them again with the peekaboo backdrop. And I'm going to be using the interior pieces this time. You'll notice that I'm going to have a lot of extra pieces. I'm going to save those to create other cards in the future. So now that I've got all of these pieces cut, I just need one of the little panels of each of the colors. And I'm going to just add some adhesive to the back and pop them right in. It's super easy to do since we use the same die to cut both the interior and the frame. I use the same idea to die cut some more interior pieces in 4 cardstock colors. I have guava, fake tan, mermaid, and noble fir. Once I have all of those pieces cut, then what I'm going to do is take one of my simple stitched hillside dies and I'm going to die cut little hills from all of these pieces. So I'll line up that die there just how I think it's going to look nice and then use my post-it note tape to hold it in place and die cut a little hill. And I'll repeat the same idea for all of the other colors so that now I'm going to have little hills that are going to coordinate with those cute pattern papers. The next step is to add some glue to these little hills and pop them into these scenes. And because we use the same die to cut these hill pieces, they're going to fit inside perfectly, which is really, really cool. Next up, I'm going to show you that fun tree idea that I was talking about earlier, and that's by coloring these trees in pink. So I colored it in pink, and now I'm using a red marker to create little dots all around as if there were little tiny flowers on the tree. The other thing I'm going to do is take a white gel pen and create little dots with that. And I think it's such a cute look and just such a fun way to decorate your trees in a different manner. I did the same idea for my orange trees for fall. So now I just need to add my little trees and houses into my scenes. Some of them I'm going to lay flat and some of them I'm going to pop up just to create some fun dimension. So here you can see those 4 seasons starting to build from spring to summer to fall and then to winter. I love that little schoolhouse on there. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Just perfect for fall since that's when school starts. So I'm going to layer on my trees and then layer on my little summer houses and my summer green trees. I also added some green dots on those trees to kind of help match with my spring and fall trees too. Now for the winter house, we're going to take out Winter Village and use that with this one since all of these little houses coordinate together. So I stamped that out and colored it. I also stamped out the cute little lamppost from that set too. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that snow area and then I'm going to dip it into my Prisma glitter and just add some glitter to really make it look nice and snowy and just perfectly wintry. I'm going to layer that on with some foam tape and then I'm also going to give it a little smoke coming out the top of the chimney. And I just love how cute this card is. The other thing I really like about this card is you could put any sentiment on the inside. So I'm going to leave it blank and save it. It could be just saying hello. It could be birthday. It could be thank you. I just think anybody would just love it. It's just so pretty and so fun. Next up, I'm going to be recreating a gorgeous card by Elena. And so I'm using my Gotta Have gingham paper, and I've picked out that yellow paper, which makes a really, really cool sky. I'm also die cutting the largest stitched rectangle out of white cardstock, and I'm going to add that to create a nice frame for my scene. Using my largest stitched rectangle, I'm going to die cut some Watercolor Wishes paper, and I'm going to die cut 2 of them because I'm going to need to die cut some cute little grass. So here I have one of my grassy hillside borders, and I'm going to die cut a large grass. And then here I have my road border, and I'm die cutting that from some storm cloud cardstock. And then from there, I'm going to die cut kind of a lower piece of grass to kind of cover up that road and help fill in the scene. So now I've die cut that grass as well. I'm going to cut the back of the road border in white and then layer those 2 pieces together there to give that really cool road look. Once I layer my road piece on, I'm going to just trim off any excess of the white that's hanging over. I love how cool this road is looking and how well it works with this new Happy Village set. So now it's just time to layer all of my pieces, and the road has the same kind of slope as the grassy hillside, so it's just a perfect match and looks so good. And then I'll layer that grass kind of overlapping the road a little bit to look like kind of a country road. I'm going to stamp "Congrats on your new home" at the bottom and then layer in a bunch of little houses here. So I'm going to put my trees and my fence and just kind of create my whole scene here to create this really just happy thing for someone moving from one house to the other. I'm going to put my little moving boxes on top of the car and then also layer some sun and clouds and just create a happy, fun scene here. And that's it, just super simple with a little bit of die cutting. It just looks so much fun. And then here's a look back at the 3 cards that we created today and the fun, really cute and colorful scenes you can make with them. We also have some gorgeous cards by the design team, and I love this wood grain backdrop that Audrey used. Shari created a really cute little hanging terrarium with the whole little rocks and the houses. Oh my gosh, it's so sweet. I adore this card by Jess and how she cut the scripty congratulations border out of the road. It's so clever. Here's the card by Elena that inspired me to make mine today. I just love the bright yellows and greens on this card. And then here's a card by Elise, and I love her little rainbow trio of houses. It's just so sweet and so happy. And here's another card by Elise. Oh my gosh, I love how she layered the congrats and the little scallop circle. It just makes me smile. I love this card by Shari and how she used that really cool gradient, really rainbow paper as her sky. And in this card by Kristen, she showed that paper piecing idea. She added color to the houses with the Gotta Have Gingham paper. I love this cool watercolor background that Letitia created for her little row of houses. And then this card by Lizzie is so beautiful. I love all those speckles that she added to the background. I love the colors that Melissa used and how she used the little stitched cloud backdrop. It's just adorable and so happy. And I love how Nicole used the sage cheese frame to create the little scene, and she colored it just like her car because she just recently moved too. And then here we've got this gorgeous card by Yanea that inspired me to make mine today. And then another beautiful rainbow masterpiece by Lynette. I just love all of those layered houses and just such a happy scene. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I cannot wait to see what you make with Happy Village, so make sure to share it with us. Have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!